So tonight, we're here for magic.
Yay.
But more than just magic. This is magic that makes a difference. This is magic on purpose. So let me tell you a little bit about magic on purpose. I met magicians over the years who were using magic for purposes beyond entertainment. And it was when I met my friend Philippe, who you will all meet, who at the time was living in Paris. Now he lives in Brittany. He has moved to his quiet seaside life. But I met Philippe, and something told me that it was time to pull together this group. There are a lot of magicians in the world, but as far as we know, there aren't many who are using magic for all of its possibilities. And this is our website, which you can visit, magiconpurpose.com. I think essentially our mission is to use magic to help people access possibilities, positive possibilities in their lives. And we focus on individuals as well as organizations. Magic on Purpose, we've been together for almost 4 years. And here are some of the organizations that we have worked with. The Association for Managers of Innovation, Dearborn Schools in Michigan, Feeding America, the Ontario Hospital Association, Second Harvest Food Bank out of Central Florida, Orlando, and Oakland University. We've been blessed to bring our magic to those organizations. So tonight, you're going to see 6 of our 10 members. You'll be experiencing Brandon Love, Philippe Joannis, Anthony Grupido, David Calton, and Dan Trometer. Dan has another meeting and it goes right till 6:30, and he's going to join us just as quick as he can. And in the meantime, Katie, his wonderful wife, is with us tonight. So with that, let me go back here. I want to introduce our first magician, Brandon Love. And Brandon is in Toronto. Brandon has spent most of his life, I think, learning about possibilities and what it takes to create them. In addition to studying magic, he has this insatiable curiosity. It's earned him degrees in psychology and philosophy and education. He's also a certified yoga instructor, a hypnotist, and he also holds a 2nd degree black belt in karate. So for more than a decade, Brandon has shared the lessons that he's learned both on stage and through his writing. And his mission is to awaken people to their possibilities. We're so excited he's with us here to share some of his magic with us tonight. So Brandon, let me put the spotlight on you.
Yay. Thanks so much, Andrew, for that warm introduction. It's truly such a pleasure to be hanging out with all of you in what I think is actually, real magic. It might be magic enough, really, for us all to be able to connect through time and space with these devices that we're using, which are somehow sending data and signals in some form up to space through satellites and then back down into your screen. I don't really get it. It's totally magical to me. And I just think it's kind of amazing that we've ended up here, where we are. I was watching this documentary. I'm going to get to the magic. I'm not just going to talk at you for a while, but I was watching this documentary called Playing with Sharks last night. I wonder if anybody has seen it. If you haven't, it's totally worth a watch. It's about a woman named Valerie May Taylor, who some of you might be familiar with. She was an Australian spearfishing champion turned shark conservationist. And she's got this really poetic, beautiful way of looking at the world, and described how like all of life was at one point united by the sea. And I thought, isn't that kind of interesting? We all are the same place. We do our own different things, and we've diverged and become unique individuals and species. And Yet here somehow we are all united again. So thanks for joining us. You could be anywhere in the world right now. You're here with us. I want to share some magic with you. And thinking about origins, I thought maybe I could share a little bit of my origin story in magic. The most popular question I get asked after, how did you do that, is how did you get into magic? And any of my magician friends here will be able to tell you, we hear that question a ton. And I'm quite sure every magician has their own version of the origin story. Mine happened for me when I was 7 years old. I was watching a magician, you might have heard of him. His name is David Copperfield. And back in those days, 1991, Copperfield would do television specials about every 3-4 months. And because we knew in advance, we would mark our calendars in the family. And it was a great big event. I was allowed to stay up late to watch these shows. But while I enjoyed the spectacle and the flash and the dancing, it wasn't until David performed this one trick where he invited me to come on up to the screen. And actually, he read my mind that totally melted my brain. That's when I was hooked. And I want to share that experience for some of you this evening. So what I'm going to ask you to do, in fact, for this journey we're going to go on, is I'm going to ask you to turn off your camera. You'll see why. I don't want to be able to cheat and look into where you're pointing. I'm going to invite you to put your finger on your screen, unless it's a touch screen, and then I just want you to hold it really close to the screen. And we're going to see if we can make a connection of sorts here. Let me just pull up my little frame. Actually, first of all, I'll get everybody in this room. If you're willing to play along with me, think of a number between, let's say not 1 or 2. Let's go between 3 and 12. Think of a number between 3 and 12. Have you got it? You're settled? Perfect. Let's bring up our screen here. Now, as you can see around me, we've got the letters of the alphabet going clockwise around your screen, plus a couple extra additional dots up here. What I would like you to do to start out this game, you're going to count your way into the circle. So whatever your number is, you're going to start here with 1, and then 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, et cetera, all the way around the circle. Take your time, make sure you count carefully, and go ahead, do that now. So you're counting your way in, and you're going to land on one of these letters. That should leave enough time for the higher numbers.
On my number?
Once you've got your finger on a letter, don't move it, stay there. I'm going to get rid of our starter dots here. Perfect. Now, I want you to say, count the exact same number, but you're going to go in the opposite direction this time. So, for example, if you were the number 3 and you were on the letter G, you're now going to go 3 the other direction, 1, 2, 3, and you'll end up there. Go backwards the other direction, the same number of dots. And again, be sure to move your finger carefully. Okay. I believe everybody has found themselves settled somewhere in this circle of letters. You know what? I'm gonna take a chance right off the bat. As I look up here at A, I can tell that nobody's got their finger on A. One of you isn't actually touching the screen. I need you to bring your finger right up and touch the screen. I know it seems a little bit silly, but what it accomplishes is really amazing. Oh, thank you. Thanks for doing that. Actually, let's go here. I have a feeling down here, we went A. Let's get rid of the G here. Nobody's on G. At least I hope you're not on G. No, there's no E. Let's get rid of the D too. Okay, let's try this. Wherever you are, I have no idea. Everybody started with a different number. There's no way I could know where you are right now. Do me a favor. Let's just say 4. I want you to count 4 in one direction or the other. So either clockwise or counterclockwise. You're going to count 4 letters away from where you presently are located. Okay. This is a little trickier now. But this would be pretty cool if this worked, right? I mean, there's no way you've turned your cameras off. I can't see where you're pointing right now. So here's how this is going to go. If I get this right, I want you to turn on your camera and show me that with a great big smile on your face that we got this right. Here we go. Is it? There it is right there. C. Did we get C? Are you on the letter C? Turn your camera on. Let's see the smiles. Not everybody's turned their camera on. Did we miss a few? You know, it's funny. You're not going to believe this, but I actually knew. I knew you were going to end up on the letter C. Yeah, the entire time, in fact. I put this little envelope over my shoulder, which of course has the letter C. Da, 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 da. And of course, you remember we talked at the beginning about everybody having their kind of unique origin story and going their own paths and ending up meandering down their own trails. But the beautiful thing about magic, or at least one of the beautiful things of magic, is its ability to unite us, its ability to bring us back together in a shared experience of mystery or wonder. Of course, we begin as we end as we began, united by the sea. Sorry, that's cheesy, but thank you so much for playing along, my friends. It's been such a pleasure hanging out with y'all. I am so excited to introduce our next performer for you this evening. Let me just pull up the proper introduction so I don't mess this up. But my friend, my new friend, who I actually have never met in person. One of the beautiful things about this Magic on Purpose group is we are from all over the place, and we're able to connect through this magic of technology to share ideas and wisdom. And Philippe Joannis, our next performer, got his first magic book in the 60s. And he learned to perform street magic in Paris in the 80s when the internet didn't exist yet. It's already quite a miracle that he's able to use Zoom, frankly. He thought about becoming a full-time magician, but he took a wrong turn, as he says, and went into business. He worked in executive positions in a few companies like Apple, and then he created a few of his own companies. And then he decided to return to his first love and become a leadership consultant and mentor. Or, in his own words, a meta magician. For him, leadership development is all about transformation and helping leaders find their own unique magic powers. Please do me a favor, give a virtual round of applause for our next performer, Philippe Joannis.
You're muted. You got to unmute yourself.
Thanks, Anthony. Actually, yes, maybe I shouldn't use Zoom as you said, and yeah, using Zoom is the real miracle. Is more than I'm awake right now, because I'm speaking from France. I'm an early bird, and being awake, I will do my best to stay awake during my whole performance, which is about awakening. So there would be some irony if not. You know, magic has an awakening effect. You've seen that with Brandon. And my personal intention as a magician is not just to build small awakening moments, but it's enlightenment. Yes, I'm quite ambitious. And not just enlightenment for me, but for the whole. And, you know, what is enlightenment? Enlightenment is a transformation of consciousness. A transformation of our relationship with reality. And we all have had a taste of what enlightenment is when we fell in love. You know, suddenly everything is different. The air is more brilliant. Everything is, yes, there's some magic in the air. And so that's what I'd like to do with you, this evening. Relationship with reality. Let's pretend this is reality. Or at least it's a piece of it. Or let's pretend it's each of us. As usually we live in a world where we see the outer outer aspect of things. We don't see inside, so we are able to see the shape, we're able to see the color, but we're not able to see what's inside. So in order to get enlightened, we have to go inside of reality, inside of each of us. So I'd like to show you what's inside. Well, it's not so so easy, it seems, because inside there's another smaller box, which is a black box, and actually we can't see inside of it. It's just black. We can't see inside of it because most of the time we don't know what's going on inside of us. We know there are thoughts, we know there are emotions, sensation, but we don't really know. It's a mess. And in order to get enlightened, we have to go inside of us. And so I'd like to show you what's inside each of us, inside each of you. And you'll see, yes, there's a beautiful emptiness inside each of you, each of us. Emptiness on this side, emptiness over there. But if we begin to meditate, we get into a kind of contemplation, we get quiet. We'll see that inside of each of us, we'll find something beautiful. We will find a flame. Each of us are sharing a flame, which gives us some warmth and some light. It's our consciousness. Warmth is connected to love, to our ability to melt the ice, which is in our hearts or in our relationship. Light is connected to knowing, to be able to see, to awareness. And if we stay very connected to this light, and we let this light light up itself, we let our own awareness, consider our own awareness, something very strange happen. The inner box, which is our consciousness, begins to grow, to grow, to grow. You see, it's much larger now. It may seem an illusion, but not so. In any illusion, there are some piece of truth, because if I take this small box, it could now contain the whole universe. There's no more inside or outside. We are enlightened. Welcome to enlightenment. Welcome, welcome. So now that we are a bunch of enlightened people, my pleasure will be to introduce the younger of our tribe, Anthony Grupido. Anthony is a magician and a keynote speaker based in Detroit, Michigan, and he actually has performed magic all over the world, not only in Michigan. And he worked with celebrities like the Impractical Jokers, David Dobrik, the Chainsmokers, and even some American's Got Talent winners. His world-class magic is just top-notch. But his story of overcoming depression and anxiety is why you will see him speaking at so many schools and conferences about mental wellness. Anthony, the screen is yours, the floor and the screen is yours.
How's everyone doing? I'm going to switch over to gallery view just so that I can see all of your faces. So give me some of these if you guys are having a good night so far. Awesome. I'm Anthony Grupido. I'm 26 years old and all the way from Lake Orion, Michigan. Yeah. It's this awesome town between Detroit and Flint. And no, I really do love it here. Living is a vacation in Lake Orion, which is why everyone's on probation. But what I'm going to do for you guys is a lot of fun. When I go to schools and I present at conferences and things like that, it always is about mental health. A lot of this is me sharing my stories of like anxiety, of struggling with depression and things like that. And a lot of my anxiety and a lot of my depression, as I get older, I find out is through the stories that I tell myself. And the stories that I do tell myself are positive. Some of them are negative, and a lot of them are very confusing. If you've ever worked with me, you know that I can just ramble, and that's just kind of who I am. But every time that I started to get negative over the past few years, especially when I started working with cognitive behavioral therapy, I learned to question myself. And that reminds me of a really, really great card trick that I want to show you guys. So do me a favor. Could I don't have any pinning power, but could Andrew, I don't know if you can help me out, unless he just walked away. This would be really unfortunate. But I do need okay, cool, he's still there. I do need a volunteer, just someone to help me out. Raise your hand if you can help me out with this one. Anybody in the audience want to help me out with I see Ruth is the only one who rose her hand. Actually, no, it looks like Sarah did too, but Ruth, we're going to add you to the spotlight. So do me a favor, add Ruth in here so we're both spotlighted. And hey, unmute you. Oh, she's gone. Bring her back.
We've got dueling spotlighters.
Yeah, only Andrew, you spotlighter. We'll get Ruth back up.
David, go ahead.
Awesome. Ruth, unmute yourself. How you doing tonight?
I'm great. So the first act was me disappearing, right? Is that what it was?
Ta-da. All right, guys, that ends Happy Hour for Hope. Y'all have a nice one. And I'm just joking. Ruth, where are you from?
Originally London.
London? Oh, okay. Well, originally, but where are you right now?
In Westerly. I am David's wife.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, nice to meet you. Well,
You
then this will be really, really cool. I have a deck of cards on me. And when the shutdown happened, it became a challenge, for me to work. I always told myself, like, how in the world am I going to have people pull out cards? You know what I mean? It's not like I could say, hey, pick out one of these cards for me. You can't grab them, right?
No.
No,
But
no.
You can choose one.
I can tell you, you said you're David's wife, right? David Calton?
Yeah, but I don't dabble in magic. I just appreciate it.
You're looking at the cards already, but here's the thing. What I'm going to do, because I can't have you pull out a card, is I'm going to fan them back at you. And not the 10 of diamonds, of course, because that is the bottom card. But I want you to just look at the pack, and the first card that you see, the card that you see, just hold it in your mind. Don't think about it, but actually see it.
Okay.
Let me know when you have one.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions to accomplish a goal of mine. And my goal right now, of course, is to find your card. And not only am I going to try to find it, I'm going to try to cut to it, to the exact location that it is in the deck. Now, you didn't happen to have a card with a number on it, did you?
No.
I didn't think so. Now, maybe that's only 50-50, so you don't sound too impressed yet. But you didn't happen to have, and I'm going to cut the pack, you didn't happen to have a black card, did you?
I did.
You did? That's so crazy. You see, when I cut the pack here, I cut to this one single playing card right here. And it just so happened to be the Jack of Clubs.
Yes, exactly. Perfect.
And that
Wonderful.
was the playing card that you actually saw in the pack?
It is, absolutely.
Well, then it looks like I've accomplished my goal in just 2 questions. Everyone give Ruth a round of applause, because you made this happen. I couldn't have done it without you. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
They're going to remove you from the spotlight, of course. But isn't it crazy, that we can always ask ourselves questions to change our thoughts and the way that we look at ourselves. And that's something that over a period of many, many years I've been trying to practice, is that if I feel bad that I chose something, because there's no true answer to whether someone's like a good or a bad person, or inherently we're good. And sometimes we make great choices and sometimes we make not so great choices. And I've definitely been on both of those ends. But when I start to tell myself that I'm a bad person, or I start to tell myself that I'm not good enough at something, or when I'm working with a group of magicians like I do now, like I'm not handsome enough or something like that, I always stop, take a second, and I ask myself a series of questions to find out if the story I'm telling myself is true or not. And the relationship that I have with myself has greatly improved because of that over many, many years. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're ever trying to accomplish something, All you got to do is ask yourself the right questions. And if you're trying to change the way that you think about yourself, you can do the same thing too. Now, that does end the small little segment that I do have. Is Dan here? Did Dan get in here?
I sure am.
Hey, okay, just making sure before I introduce Dan, and he is not here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to get this right. So, Dan Trometer is a great friend of mine, and I have met him in person. But Dan Trometer has spent over 20 years. That's like most of my life as a speaker, facilitator, and professional magician. He applies his skills and insights to helping teams boost their performance by challenging their assumptions and shifting their perspectives. He's also a positive psychology practitioner and coach who empowers his clients to reach new levels of happiness, and couldn't be more pumped to see Dan perform. Give him a nice round of applause.
Hi, everybody. Oh, it's so nice to be here. I just got in. I was just attending a class that I'm in on group coaching, and in fact, some of my coaching classmates are in with me tonight, so it's lovely. And I think that Anthony's piece really dovetails nicely in with my piece. A lot of my work ends up floating around the idea of the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe something is true, then it can become true, because if you believe it's true, then you're willing to put in the work to do it. If you believe something is not possible, well, then it's not possible, because if you don't believe it's possible, you're not even going to try. So that's the general idea of the self-fulfilling prophecy. I think we're all relatively familiar with it, but I think it's useful to have some practical tools for harnessing the self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's what I want to share with you today. We're a whole bunch of different people. We need one goal to share amongst us, because this is a tool for harnessing the self-fulfilling prophecy to attain our goals. So we're going to choose a playing card as our goals for the self-fulfilling prophecy. I have a deck of cards here. It is, you may have noticed, it's a relatively large deck of cards, much larger than a normal one. I mentioned that right off the bat because I don't want you to think that I suddenly shrank. Perspective joke. I need somebody to help. I'll dribble through. Anybody, just somebody unmute. As I dribble through, somebody say stop. Is somebody unmuted? Say something.
Yes.
Okay, somebody is unmuted. So I'll dribble, you say stop.
Yes, stop.
There, okay, good. Take a good look. I'm not looking at the screen. Everybody got it? We can see it? Yes?
Yep, we got it, Dan.
You got it, good. Thank you very much, good. I couldn't see it myself, so I had to get confirmation. So I'm not gonna find the card. I don't know what it was. So instead, I'm going to use this tool that my friend Jim Owens taught me. Jim Owens, and the tool is to simply draw a picture of your goal. So Jim, when he was in college, we were in college together, he wanted nothing more than his diploma. So he got some typing paper and some colored markers, and he drew a picture of his degree, his diploma. He framed it. He hung it on the wall above him, above his bed. Not bad so far, yeah? No. Yeah. So Jim framed this drawing, hung it on the wall above his bed so that every night before he went off to dream, he could look up on the wall and see that goal in real tangible form. Every morning before he went off to class and to work, he could look up and see that goal as a reminder of what he was getting up for to go out and work.
Turn it down, Lenny.
After 3 more years of hard work and incremental motion towards that goal, he was able to complete his goal, get his diploma, and replace the drawing with his actual degree. And I think I have a pretty good depiction of our goal. Check it out. The Ace of Spades. Not getting a real strong vibe from the group.
No, that's not it,
but I didn't
Dan.
finish. I didn't finish. So let me finish the drawing. See, it's a three-dimensional drawing. This is the entire deck of cards. Your card's in there. Lame. But this makes sense, right? I didn't know the card. How are you supposed to know? How are you supposed to draw a picture of your goals if you don't even know what your goals are? But you all saw the card. You know what the goal is. So picture that card here inside of the drawing of the entire deck of cards. And now imagine it getting lighter, lighter and lighter until that image starts to rise up and float out of the deck. See that in your mind. And now make it a reality. Sometimes people clap. Not usually. Normally it's just, I'm going to draw a few little marks on here. That makes it look like the drawing's still moving. And like all good artists, I'll sign this so that you can see that it is indeed just what it appears to be. A piece of paper with no slits, no holes, no errors, just a drawing of our goal that has come to life. And I do this and I love this trick. It's great, but what it really does, so what I've showed you is a trick. What drawing a picture of your goal can do is magic. I have done this for many of my goals in my life that I've been wanting to work towards. I get out some paper, I get out some colored pencils, and I draw it. I have no drawing skills. All of my drawings for all of my goals have always been stick figures, but I put it someplace where I can see it every day. And by doing that, I get to see that goal that reminds me, oh yeah, I'm working towards that. And I take the next step, and I take the next step, and I take the next step. And each of those little steps doesn't really do much, but cumulatively, they all add up. And it's a great way to meet your goals. So there you go. That's my section. And I'm going to shift back over to my other camera to introduce our next presenter. Here I come. Cool. So my friend David Calton began his journey in studying and practicing magic at age 8, and as an adult spent nearly a decade performing throughout Japan. For the past 20+ years, he has incorporated his love of magic into his innovation consulting practice, where making the impossible is par for the course. David passionately believes in illuminating and celebrating the wonders around us and the connections between us. His performances are interactive explorations of the magic that is inside of us all. Ladies and gentlemen, David Calton.
Hi, everyone. I am so happy to be here, and I'm so excited to see all of the magic that's come before, and some of the threads that we'll make between them. Just before we get into it, I wanted to just say, you know, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I have this love-hate relationship with social media. It totally sucks me in, which I hate. But one thing I really like is finding a great quote that really speaks to me. I saw one the other day about collaboration, which is really an important part of my day job. And it said, collaboration. None of us are as dumb as all of us. And what we're going to do here together today, hopefully, is the exact opposite of that. None of us are as amazing as all of us. By the way, I see someone putting an emoji there. If you look at despair.com, you'll find some other great quotes like that. So I'd like to share with you 3 ideas and then a little experiment that hopefully will connect them all to you. And some of these will sound familiar with the other speakers, particularly with Brandon's message of being united by the sea. So here are the three ideas. The first idea is that we are all magical beings, but we often take this for granted. We do amazing things all the time that are just, we assume are just day-to-day things. The second idea is that we're connected to each other and to the world around us in deep ways that we may not fully comprehend. So we have these roots that connect us together. The third idea is that we often get in our own way when it comes to understanding or even remembering these first two concepts. So what I'd like to do is to try to remember the magic of us together now. Are you game to play? All right, very good. So with this, what I'm going to do is tell you about a little dream that I had. I think dreams really can speak to us and give us a lot of good information. I had this dream the other night that really stuck with me. I was moving through a city, and everywhere I turned, a word kept popping up. In windows, on street signs, there was a pattern of birds in a park that spelled out a word. And I believe in listening to my dreams, so I woke up and I jotted it down. I always keep a pad next to the bed, and I scribbled down this word and I wrote it on a piece of paper. So if we are connected in the way I described, perhaps you all know this word that's written on this paper as well. But let's try to get it out of your heads in a way that doesn't focus on the rational mind, but focuses on our spirit, our connection. In essence, my supposition is you don't know how you know, but somehow, somewhere, you know what word I wrote on this piece of paper. So before we start with this, there are two important things. The first thing is that I have not shared this word with anyone, not with my wife, not with my Magic on Purpose partners. No one knows what this word is except for me. And I'll be asking for some assistance, more than one person, maybe 4 or 5 people. And so in the spirit of what we're trying to do and illuminating connection, you know, if you're not feeling it, and that's totally fine. In fact, it's preferable that you don't help and support in this way. You can say, I'll pass. But if you are interested in helping, it would be helpful for me to know if you just unmute yourself. You can stay quiet, but just unmute yourself now so I'll know who's ready and willing to play. Okay? So one more thing before we get into it. I find that one way that I can tap into getting out of my head and into feeling the world around me is through mindfulness. So I'm just going to ask all of you to humor me here, and we're going to take a couple of deep breaths together. So we're going to, you can keep your eyes open or closed, doesn't matter. We're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more time, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And a last time in and out. So now you can continue breathing as normal, but just keep an eye on your breath. Really pay attention to it if you're going to be helping me. I see a couple people with their unmuted, but I'm going to need more than just a couple. So if you're willing to play, that would be really great. As a matter of fact, Ellen, Julian, I'm super glad that you unmuted, because in order to find this word and to not be thinking about it too much, just to go with it, it's great to have a repository of words. And I see you've got a great repository of words behind you. You have a whole bunch of books.
I do.
Here's what I want you to do. And let me give the instruction before you do it. I want you to turn around to your bookshelf, and I'd like you to just pass your hand over your books and don't think, don't get in your head. Just pass your hand over the books, and when you feel the time is right, reach in and pull out the book. Don't even look at the titles, just reach in and pull out a book that speaks to you.
Interesting. Okay.
What's the book? Oh, A Winter's Tale, Mark Halperin. I love that book. Terrific. So, so random choice of books, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, great. Now I need someone else to help me. So Jay, what I'd like you to do, I'm guessing there's probably like 600 pages in that book, Ellen, something like that?
664.
Pretty good guess. All right, so Jay, I'd like you to think of a number between 1 and 664. Again, don't think about it too much, just name it. Whatever comes to your mind, the name of the page, just say what it is.
423, David.
423. Ellen, please turn to page 423.
All right. Let's see. 423.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Very good. So Carrie Galloway, I see that you're unmuted as well. Thank you. So right now, Ellen is looking at 2 pages. She's looking at a left-hand page and a right-hand page. Which is she going to focus on? Again, just by your feeling alone. Which one? Left page
Left.
or right page?
Left.
Left page. All right. So Ellen, we're going to focus on the left page. I need just one more person to help. Jerry, I see you've unmuted as well. Thank you. So I want you to tell Ellen which line to look at in the book. So there's a bunch of lines. I don't know how many, doesn't matter. She's going to count from the top down to the number that you say. What line number should she be looking at?
9.
9, line number 9. So Ellen, move your finger down, and I want you to make sure that I can't see the book. So tilt it away from me just a little bit. That's really important. So Ellen, you're on line 9, correct?
Yes.
You're on line 9. Good. All right, very good. So now what I want you to do, Ellen, is I want you to slide your finger across that line. I want you to ignore words like or in or the, but move along until there's a word that has some meaning. And I want you to stop at that word. Are you there? Do you have the word?
I do.
You do. So what is the word that you have stopped at?
Summer.
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 And does this have a particular like meaning to you? Do you pine for summer or
Oh,
anything
it's
like
going into winter and I am so sad.
Well, that is really
In more than one way. Yes.
I know what you mean. So here's what I just want to recap for a second. Ellen had no idea before she got on this call that I was going to ask her for a book. She didn't even look. She reached behind and picked a book off her shelf. We had other people, again, using their just gut and intuition, be thinking about what page, left or right, all that stuff. In our typical way of interacting in the world, there is no way that these random but thoughtful choices could have come to the exact word that I wrote down on this piece of paper, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Totally
It is
correct.
very interesting then that the word on the paper is summer.
Hooray.
So I want to point out that this is truly the magic of us. My part of the trick was done with my dream and my scribbling, and you all found the word. So as you leave here tonight and go through your day tomorrow, I invite you to think about one small thing that you can do to celebrate this remembrance of wonder and connection that we all have and keep it going. And with that, we have one more performer. Thank you. We have one more performer and we're just about at our time, but I want to get to Andrew Bennett. He's our final performer. He started us off with at the beginning of the evening. Andrew Bennett is a keynote speaker, consultant, coach, 2 times TEDx presenter, and professor at American University in Washington. He specializes in leadership, organizational culture, and personal development. Andrew is on a mission to revitalize the human spirit and has worked in over 130 organizations, including Google, Microsoft, and Habitat for Humanity. His first TEDx talk, The Magic of Words, has been viewed over 500,000 times. And if you're smart, you'll make it 500,000 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a great talk. So Andrew, take it away.
Thank you so much, David. I just am in awe at my colleagues. What do you think, everybody? Aren't they amazing?
Yep.
So it's a pretty incredible thing to use magic to help people. And over the years, I've met the people that you have just seen perform tonight. I've kind of met them one by one. I brought a newspaper. It's a copy of today's newspaper. And a newspaper is really a great metaphor because it's a collection of stories, right? And here's the thing, you and I are a collection of stories too. Each one of us has our own stories. And just like a newspaper has different sections, you have different chapters in your life. If you think about your life, right? I think you can probably think about very specific chapters that you've had in your life, right? And so a newspaper makes for a great metaphor about stories. So it was about, gosh, Dan, I think it was about 7 years ago, actually, that you and I met. And Dan had his stories and I had my stories. And we got together and we started talking about our lives and our beliefs about magic and what was possible with magic and what's possible with life. And we developed a wonderful relationship. And then the next thing you know, along comes David. I met David Calton in La Jolla, California, at a meeting of innovators. So here's David, this guy who practiced magic in Japan for 9 years. And then he followed his bliss to help people create new things, to innovate. And he became a master consultant and coach and facilitator of innovation. And so David brought his stories to the table. And then I met Anthony in Detroit. And here was this young guy who was so courageous to tell his personal story about his challenges with mental health. And I got to see the impact that he had on young people as he shared from his heart about the things that he'd been through. And I saw how these young people actually sought out help after seeing Anthony and the difference that he made. And so our stories started to come together. And then I'm in Salt Lake City and I meet this Frenchman named Philippe, who had used magic, and he performed in the streets when he was in college. And then he climbed the corporate ladder and he was an executive at Apple, but he loved magic and he wanted to figure out how to integrate magic and the cultivation of consciousness. And so Philippe joined the conversation. And Brandon brought his stories to the conversation. Brandon, with his insatiable appetite for learning and his passion for life and wanting to help other people lead fulfilling lives. And so all these stories came together. And so we convened about 4 years ago. We all got together. We brought our stories to the table. And when I initiated that get together, I said to everyone, this may be one conversation. And we say, well, that was nice. It was nice to meet you. See you later. Good luck. Or it might be a conversation where we say, that was interesting. Let's talk again. Well, here it is 4 years later, and we have become tight. We spend about 3 hours a month together, and we've been doing that for 4 years. We've gotten together in Chicago to work with the Association for Managers of Innovation. Philippe came from France. Dan came from Toronto. Everybody came together, and we've spent a lot of time together. And we have, I think it's safe to say we have fallen in love with each other. And so while we each have our individual stories, and Anthony's talking about mental health, and Dan is talking about positive psychology and empathy, and we all have our individual focuses. We have our individual stories. What we're trying to do, and what I hope you got this evening, was that we are creating a new story together as Magic on Purpose. And we're using magic beyond entertainment. We hope it's entertaining. I was entertained tonight. Were all of you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to use magic to entertain, but we also want to use magic to lift your spirits, to open your mind, to open your hearts, to see that life is full of positive possibilities.
So good.
So there you go. That is Magic on Purpose. That is Happy Hour for Hope. Thank you all so much for being here. I want to say that we are at our time, but if you would like to hang around and just hang out and informally have a chat, the magicians will stick around if you want to ask questions of us. We would be happy to do that. And I do want to encourage you to visit happyhourhope.com to make a contribution to Friends of Guest House. I think we kind of have this unspoken goal of getting to $10,000. We're just over 9,200 coming into the evening. One person attending tonight said that they bought 2 bottles of champagne. So thank you to that person. That's $200. I'd love to see it if we could get to $10,000 tonight, and really cap things off for Happy Hour for Hope. So thank you all for being here. And like I said, stick around. We'll have a relax. I'm going to drink some beer and we'll have a chat.
This is Dan. I'm going to jump in here too and convey a sense of thanks to you, Andrew, for jumping in early in the pandemic to create this thing that has really been a light in some dark times for me, and I know for a lot of the other attendees. So thank you not only for this, but for everything you do and for being awesome.
Thank you.
Hear, hear.
Thank you so much.